Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're gonna be
Reacting to my subscribers' K-pop opinions because Espa can't sing and Garam is back.
I feel like
1. No wonder
we go through a cycle of this. Everyone saying, "Oh, Espa can't sing." Well, we know they can sing.
Well, it's based on those videos.
Yeah.
SM always makes Espa lip sync. Those live vocals are rough. Clips from their recent university performance are going viral for how badly they sang. It's embarrassing for a 5-year-old vocal group and they weren't even dancing. Just
Well, I
walking
feel
and
like
pointing. Let's see
they
how
kind
y'all
of like beat a dead horse. It's like a cycle.
But to be fair though, we have to keep the same energy because Let's Film got dragged for the same thing.
Yeah.
Like about the same time last
It-
year after Coachella.
It's just I don't see how this happens like here that often in the West. That happens like in a rare occasion where you see like a singer, a known singer like Fergie, and then you realize, oh my God, what happened in your live performance in basketball? You know?
Well, because in the West, people can sing. I mean,
No, that's why I'm
it's
saying it happens. I feel like it happens too much in
in
the
K-pop.
K-pop
Yeah, because
world.
K-pop is a machine. They just keep producing people that not
Yeah, I feel
necessarily
like they
are the
just need a
singers.
break. They just kind of just need a
Like
break.
the people in K-pop, they're not like there's
Mm,
some good singers, but like
mm.
they're dime a dozen. Whereas,
But also, I also do feel like if you have an artist performing over past, their capacity and not give them a proper break, you're gonna like kind of ruin their skill set because there's so much you can do.
yeah,
Like you can't shoot the same shot over and over and over again, back to back to back to back to back to back, like for 360 days
no, they need a
of the
break.
year,
Yeah,
you
I've been
know?
saying they need a break.
Because they've been carrying
Mm.
SM.
will defend them.
I said
No,
S&M.
the Espa performance wasn't some vocal apocalypse like y'all are trying to paint it as. I was front row at the roast when Espa were lip syncing through award season, but their recent Hongik University Festival stage was not the disaster people are pretending it was. It was a solid 30-minute set with actual live vocals, handheld mics, and minimal backtrack. Which is more than you can say for half the groups out there twerking to an MP3 file. Did Karina go off key for 5 seconds during Spicy's final chorus? Yeah, she did. It was rough. That note flew in from the dungeon, punched her in the throat and left, but the
they
entire
owned it
rest of the set
quickly.
was
They
clean.
went on the chat and they were like, "Damn, I really dropped the ball."
The first 2 choruses of that same song? Nailed. Every other track? Served. So why are y'all acting like that one wobbly high
Also,
note?
yeah, maybe why it doesn't happen here in the West is people. If the whole thing is about like 1 5 second clip from a 30-minute performance, I don't think here people in the West really care about the 5 seconds out of 30.
They do.
I feel like
They do.
I don't think so.
Um,
I think it would matter when the whole thing is trash. Then okay, you get
no,
trashed.
because when Beyonce does like a little mistake, it's like, "Oh, this is perfect. This is perfect media coverage." They're gonna eat it up. They look for those things.
Is proof they can't sing. You're really gonna throw away 30+ minutes of raw, unfiltered, no auto-tune insight vocals because of one cracked belt in the last chorus of one song? Please be serious. And let's talk about the context y'all conveniently ignore. Mic issues? All over the place. The sound was busted the entire set. Karina was seen messing with her earpiece mid-song. Winter was seen visibly mad at the sound tech team. Their in-ears were clearly jacked and their
also the
handheld
tech
mics were giving
people,
ghost
I
energy
think
half.
something wrong with the tech because first of all, they're using outdated equipment. I hate when I hear the ear mics with that look like the telephone receiver. I feel like it's so outdated, and I think that sets them up even too. That leaves opportunity for things to go wrong.
Yeah, I don't really understand how K-pop is like such a big industry, but their equipment is so outdated.
Yeah, I feel like it's
Like when we watched Greece, Ethnikos Telikos, the equipment was just so the sound was so beautiful, and then we see K-pop, and K-pop is like way more popular, way bigger music industry than Greece ever had. So I can't really understand how their equipment is consistently just
well because they
bad.
have to pay for a lot of equipment for a lot of artists, and I feel like there's a compromise.
The time. And despite that, they pushed through and delivered what real live performance is supposed to be: messy, risky, and human. You can't scream "we want real singers" and then boo them the moment they don't sound like a remastered MP3. Pick A. Struggle. If you want to criticize that bad, Espa's dancing is right there. The energy was low, the transition sloppy, and the synchronization was definitely off. That's where the criticism is valid. But vocals? Nope. That narrative is built on selective clips and bad faith. If you didn't watch the full fan cam, shut your mouth. You don't get to comment on a performance you didn't even bother to sit through. And as someone who actually values live performance, I'll take an off-key note with passion and risk over a perfectly fake pre-recorded vocal any day of the week. 2. Garam was never proven innocent, yet the moment she made an Instagram account, thousands of y'all started following her and asking when she's debuting solo like Seulgi, completely forgetting she has a documented history of abuse. First things first, the
Who's
allegations were
Garam?
never fully black and white, despite how badly Twitter wanted to paint Garam as some Disney villain terrorizing the school halls. The reality? It was literally two
I
mean
think she
girls
was
clawing
bullying
at
the
each other's
girls.
throats. Garam was no angel. She had documented behavior issues at school, but the girl who blew up the bullying claims wasn't exactly some victimized saint either. Sis was equally guilty of problematic behavior. So what
That
we
seems to be a reoccurring theme, like in high school, middle school. It's like a rough, like the kids, it's
Re-
sink or swim. Don't play.
Remember yesterday we did a video about Korean culture and how the K netizens were commenting about Kiss of Life getting kicked
Kicked? What do you mean kicked?
kicked from KCON.
Yeah, yeah.
And one of the comments was, it seemed like racism in the West is as big of a problem as school bullying here in Korea.
Yeah. Yeah, we seen that with the Stray Kids.
So it seems like the school bullying like is a real big problem. Because
But
everybody's accused of school bullying out
But
there.
why? I want to know why.
I think because the society is very competitive, and
But to bully,
but so I mean that's
For
that's part of
what?
the competition. It's shit talking. It's like in sports, shit talking. You talk shit to get in people's heads, so you bully them, and the difference, I guess, in sports is you can handle it as an adult. As a kid in school, you can't handle it. That's the difference.
because I also feel like you kind of replicate what you see at home. So if your parents are on you for getting good grades, how you look, and getting things
Yes,
together, you
true.
probably will take that
Mm-hmm.
character
Yeah.
and push it off to other students too.
actually
That's
had here
rough.
was an ugly mean girl versus mean girl spectacle, not a clear-cut bullying scandal. To clarify, both parties had legit disciplinary actions recorded against them. It wasn't just Garam pulling stunts. This was mutual messiness escalating into disciplinary drama. But let's drill down on what really set this off. Garam confronted this girl because she allegedly took underage explicit photos of Garam's friend. Yes, Garam gathered a whole squad to back her up. And sure, a gang-style ambush isn't exactly ideal conflict resolution. But let's pause and recognize the context here. Taking underage explicit photos isn't just a petty prank, it's a serious crime. Garam went overboard, sure, but calling her an outright bully for aggressively defending a friend from literal criminal
I don't
behavior?
know.
Garam
I
was
don't know if
literally
she
12
went
years old.
overboard. I think she wanted back up
12.
because of the
Have y'all
severity of the situation. But then again, they could have called an adult. But why did they feel like an adult couldn't resolve this? I don't know.
ever met a 12-year-old? Kids that age make stupid, impulsive, messy decisions on a daily basis. Blaming a literal child for acting immaturely in a genuinely serious scenario is absolutely deranged. Where the heck were the adults when this happened? Why weren't parents, teachers, or counselors stepping in to prevent this from escalating? That's where your outrage should be directed, at the adults who spectacularly failed these kids, not solely at a middle schooler who was barely old enough to have a coherent moral compass. Garam's reputation got nuked over an incident where she was
But
arguably in the right
honestly,
morally,
the kids
if wrong
take
tactically.
control
Garam
when obviously there's not an adult that's present or even available. Maybe the adult is too busy. So the adult said, we got to settle this. The kids said, we got to settle this ourselves.
herself eventually released documents revealing it wasn't even officially classified as bullying. It was a girls' fighting scenario where she was technically the lesser aggressor, despite the public narrative painting her as some unhinged mastermind. The other girl conveniently dodged punishment by dropping out, leaving Garam holding the entire blame. By the time these details surfaced, Garam was already removed from Les Seraphim and her career was in ruins. Too
Oh, there you go. She was part of the Seraphim, the sixth member. Okay.
little too late, but still incredibly telling. Bottom line, Garam wasn't innocent, but she wasn't the monster everyone tried to paint her as either. She was a kid who made an overly aggressive but morally understandable choice defending a friend from criminal harm, while adults and agencies failed spectacularly to clarify or mediate. As for a solo debut, it's hard to say.
I can see
Garam
why
seems
she
more
gets
into
the
acting.
support immediately then. I think because everyone, see the, the information. And she's kind of clear.
But if she does return, I hope she's ready because the knives are already out. 3. What's up with Irene and Seulgi's oyster teaser controversy, and why it was deleted? So Irene and Seulgi are currently sharing a series of teasers for their first comeback in 5 years. But one of the pictures got a lot of backlash, so much so that SM ended up deleting it. It was an image of an oyster with pearls, and people started crying about it, calling the symbolism offensive and claiming it was sexualizing the girl since oysters are often used to represent female genitalia. Others pointed out that the whole concept felt inappropriate. Lots of photos were shot in bedroom settings with revealing outfits, the girls stepping on each other, Irene gripping Seulgi's chin in a controlling way and other poses. But honestly, this is pretty similar to their debut Monster concept. I'd even say Monster was more explicit conceptually than this one. But some people are just overly sensitive, saying it's giving dominant submissive energy, but I don't see the problem. The concept is powerful, daring, and out there with subtle references that never cross the line into being explicit. Does the oyster carry sensual undertones? Absolutely, but it's done in a subtle, symbolic, and artistic way. The oyster, glossy and open, paired with glistening pearls and suggestive textures, clearly references female sexuality, especially since oysters have long been used as metaphors for the female genitalia in art and literature. The overall composition evokes intimacy, softness, and mystique, all without being literal or vulgar. So while it's not sexual in a direct sense, it is symbolically sensual, designed to provoke thought and emotion through metaphor. Sensuality doesn't automatically...
Maybe, but honestly, art is meant to provoke people. So as long as they get a response, I think they were quite successful.
So G Dragon would like a word with Ubermensch.
With Ubermensch, well, that's
Provoke
different.
people.
That's provoke people. Yes, yes, but you know, it's in a context. I don't know how familiar he is with that in that world. Like, that's kind of wild. I feel like it's provoking in the sense that this is their space. Oysters is a free space, but when it comes to like Nazi Germany and you're like from South Korea, it's like knowing the history, what side was South Korea on for Nazi Germany. It looks a little, you know, more it's definitely way more controversial, if you have to agree.
Yeah.
Because
So
I think North Korea was on the side of Nazi Germany taking over.
I don't know. But so to me, this is just misogyny. They clearly they're trying to make a women empowerment move, and you know, the men offended by women
The guys are
empowerment,
afraid.
they just shut it down. It's
But this is art. I like it.
they
You said G
sh-
Dragon need a word with me. I'm not with me. I'm not the one.
uh, but yeah, they should have the right to do this. There's nothing wrong with this, absolutely.
means sexualization. Being artistic and pushing boundaries is not the same as reducing someone to eye candy. Context matters. The glossy textures, the pearls, the organic shape.
Yeah.
It's all symbolic, not sexual. Oysters have been used in culture and art forever to represent femininity and sensuality. Not because they're explicit, but because they naturally carry that soft, mysterious energy. It's a visual language, not a strip show. Just because something is suggestive doesn't mean it's sexualizing someone. Sexualization is when a person is reduced to an object for desire. It's an oyster, a symbolic moody artsy oyster. It's about setting a tone, not selling a body. 4. KG's mother says that her son's passing was caused by stalkers. If so, I hope they get severe punishments. If you didn't know, KG shared that her brother passed away,
This
but instead
again.
of giving the family space and compassion, some of y'all crawled out of the gutter to psychoanalyze and harass her grieving mother for speaking out. Are you serious right now? KG's mom took to her Instagram stories, clearly in a state of raw pain, and stated, "You're the reason my son is gone. I will hunt you down and expose you at all cost. KG told you they were stalking us. She told you all. Do you see now? Obviously, this woman is heartbroken, angry, and desperate. She just lost her son." She's referencing KG's past statement about harassment, stalking, both digital and physical, and cyberbullying, which she explicitly stated involved the FBI. Whether the FBI are actually involved or not is irrelevant now. This is a mother screaming into the void because no one listened until something tragic finally happened. Yet instead of sympathizing or even just minding your own business, what are stands doing? Diagnosing her from behind a screen, labeling her psychotic, calling her mentally ill, and trivializing her
that's
pain.
wild.
The absolute nerve, the lack of empathy is genuinely shocking. You're really seeing someone grieving openly and choosing to invalidate their experience just because it doesn't fit your idea of how grief should look. Newsflash, grief isn't pretty, controlled, or rational. It's
That's
messy,
hard for a
devastating,
mother
and
to lose a
explosive.
child.
KG and her family have been through a lot lately. The mistreatment, lawsuit, constant harassment, physical threats, and now losing a family member. Yet some of you heartless trolls are more concerned about policing a grieving mother's reaction instead of considering the trauma she's endured. 5. What did you think of YG naming Blackpink's tour deadline? Girl, be thankful they didn't just slap the tour on it and call it a day, though that wouldn't be out of character.
Wait,
YG's
what?
not
They call it deadline?
Yeah, they call it deadline. Blackpink tour is called deadline.
even YGing anymore. It's giving confused intern energy. Are they trying to hint this is the girl's final bow? No renewal? At least they're staying loyal to their signature style, minimalistic low-effort teasers. People are saying, oh, the album can still drop in June since the tour starts in July. And yeah, technically that's true. But fans are pissed because they've been getting hit with teaser after teaser for a tour that's already selling out. And yet we haven't heard a single thing about the music, not even a fake leak. 6.
That's so
Fan
interesting. Is it's kind of expecting the fans to buy before they know what's to come.
I think they know what's to come. Their old music is to come.
But they already went to a concert with their old music, so they want to know like if the new music is worth going to the new
Well,
concert.
there's no new music. You're gonna get old music.
Mm.
So go at your own risk. But what do you think about it being called Deadline?
I'm confused. Why is it called Deadline? It's just it has to make sense for the lore. I don't know. I can't
Well,
speak.
for me, I guess if they drop an album called Deadline, then it makes sense, right? And the album called Deadline, how I would see it is, oh, it's on a short deadline, because they don't have much time to make this album. If they do make this album, it was like on a short deadline, so the album called Deadline, okay, makes sense, I guess, and if that logic. But I see people reaching that, oh, is there that implies their last, last tour, last hurrah. The word deadline doesn't necessarily imply it last. It's just deadline is a target, essentially. It's not last. So to me, doesn't imply it's last because it's deadline. It's just interesting name though. It is because kind of
It's interesting.
random.
It's interesting in the sense I don't understand.
Yeah,
so I
right.
can't like point to it.
I don't understand it either, but I don't think it implies that it's the last album at all. The word deadline doesn't mean last. Like if it was final or something like that, no, final countdown, something like that, then okay, we can talk about it. But
Yeah.
or like final deadline, but just the deadline itself. The deadline is just a goal, a target by which you have to finish a project. So if there's a deadline of a tour by which they have to finish the album, I didn't see it.
Calls are getting out of hand. A girl literally asked NCT Wishes Sakuya to pretend they were eating poop. I'm not even joking. Like,
What?
what needs to happen before these calls finally get shut down? I looked it up and here's what happened. On May
Did he
15th,
much?
during one of those cursed fan calls, some twisted fangirl actually whipped out what looked like literal poop on a plate and asked Sakuya from NCT Wish to take a pretend bite. No, I'm not kidding. We've truly peaked as a society. Apparently this mess started when the fan posed a hypothetical scenario asking if Sakuya would eat poop for a Billboard #1 spot, and the poop thingy on the place was a chocolate dessert. But still, the vibes? Rotten. Poor Sakuya looked beyond uncomfortable.
I'm surprised.
And if you thought that poop was raw,
like these like lives, they're not like there's a lag behind to kind of filter. Like before it's posted, it's kind of vetted through.
No,
in a
but I
sense.
think these lives are private, but the person posted, that's how I take it. I don't know. That's how cause
It was explained that the lives are there, but you can't. I don't know if there's private lives.
Because there's a person's face on there, so I don't think the
Yeah.
person's face would be like exposed for everybody to see on a live.
rock bottom? Think again. These calls have devolved into a breeding ground for nasty behavior. From fans showing up in lingerie to flirt with idols barely out of high school, to others demanding they meow like pets. The line between fan service and harassment has been obliterated, yet despite the mounting discomfort and public outcry,
That's why I
companies
feel like
remain
it should be
silent.
vetted
Why?
through. Like
Because
they
these
should
calls
see,
are
okay, the person who's on the phone call, and they say, okay, one moment, and then you put the idol on the phone call.
a goldmine. Fans drop thousands on albums just for a chance at a few minutes of awkward interaction. It's a sales strategy disguised as fan engagement, and it's working wonders.
Okay, guys, of course, let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Discord, and as always, share as much kindness as possible. Bye.